NSC Fan TV. Drew here with Scott after a 1-0 loss to Philly Union. And we got things to say.
Got things to say about that loss on the road.
On the road.
Yeah, it's a road loss to a good team. And so maybe we have a lot of negative things to say, but let's make sure that we keep this in perspective. We were just talking about this right before we started.
Yeah.
We played who's now the second number 2 team in our division. We played them on the road, and pretty much the only thing that really separated the two teams in the end was a chancy penalty. And they were playing with their full team, but we were playing with about half our deck.
Yeah, they had Bedoya out. They had
Shabilko,
the Polish name, right?
Hola.
Yeah, I think it's Polish, right?
Yeah, I think it's Polish.
So Shabilko, Bedoya, Flack. I mean, well, he came up late.
And Wagner was starting in their left back. He was one of the top defenders in the in MLS last year. They just had an okay game, but they had everybody out there, and they were playing for a win, and they needed.
And they were at home.
And they were at home.
It was a very pivotal game, and we did have Mukhtar out on yellows. We didn't have Dax out there.
McCarty didn't play. And Lovitz is still out.
Lovett's still out.
So those were 3 who didn't play.
Yeah.
3 who didn't play, and then 2 who were on the bench. Zimmerman was on the bench.
That's right.
And Sapong was on the bench.
He came out late though.
And Zimmerman came out late, and Sapong had to come out early.
Sapong came out early. That's right,
because of the injury to Rios.
Yeah. That was.
So yeah, let's.
Yeah,
so okay, so that's the positive, and now we.
So we were playing with, the deck was stacked against us given all the circumstances. How's he doing? Do you know?
Lovitz?
Not Lovitz.
Lovitz. Rios. No, I haven't seen anything yet about Rios.
I saw that and I was like, damn, seriously.
Not good, especially given the fact that things drop off pretty precipitously after Rios on the chart in the front.
Yeah, I mean, we started Loba too. So
do we want to start? Let's stay focused. Let's focus.
You know what? Let's start with the front. Let's start with the front and move back.
Good.
So I almost got what I wanted, which is to see Loba for more than just 10 to 20 minutes at the end.
We saw 60 minutes of Ake Lola.
We saw 6.
When did he come off?
Was it
62? 62.
Okay.
Don Lottie came on at 62.
That's right, because it wasn't just Don Lottie though. I think he brought on 2 at once, right?
So Sapong at 24, Cadiz at 76, Neelis at 76. So it was Cadiz and Neelis came on, and Don Lottie came on at 62 for Loba. So let's talk about Ake Lola. Let's talk about Ake Lola. Let's talk about Ake Lola. So I'll start.
Okay.
Not a lot. So let's start with the positives.
Okay.
He again, just as he had in the DC game, shows that he is excellent touching the ball, passing with his heel. So his heel was what created the chance for our goal against DC. The goal. No, it wasn't against DC. It was the home game on Wednesday.
It was the home game against. My brain is already.
Yeah, I've already forgotten. But he was the one who created the chance for that goal.
Yeah.
And then it was back to Rios, and then Rios over to Mukhtar. And
Mukhtar quick.
And then Mukhtar, that was strength of will.
Yeah.
And he had 2 nice touches with his heel in this game. And there were a couple times where the ball was kind of flighted to him, and he handled it well. So there were a number of points where over 60 minutes where I saw the kind of spark and the kind of creativity and the kind of silky play that he's supposed to bring.
Yeah, as somebody who came over from
Liga MX
and top team in Liga MX with the rich history and it was Columbus Crew. I just remember.
Yeah, it was the Crew. Right. Good.
Crew,
thank you.
Because we. Yeah.
So those were the upsides, but there were so many downsides, and the biggest one for me was the fact that the difference, especially when Sapong came on, the difference in terms of work rate, he just doesn't look fit. Like he looks
still
look. I'm a chubby middle-aged man, but like I'm looking at it and I'm like, could I run more than that?
He's got, well, and then too, you have the issue.
I don't know.
There's no replacement for playing 90 minutes of soccer against a top team like Philly Union. So when he goes from just subbing in, at the end of games and just trying, fresh lights coming on.
Maybe.
And then now you're gonna go 60.
You gotta go 60 minutes
against Philly Union, who have great defenders,
very strong defense,
great goalkeeping too.
But
was he just not ready? Was he just not?
But but it's one of these things where it's like I very rarely. So there are a handful of players who can do this, where it's like they can kind of so. We're Arsenal fans, and so remember the days of Mesut Ozil.
But
oh my God, watching that guy loaf around the field and stuff like that, and then. But the thing was that with Ozil, you'd watch him loaf for 70 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you'd see some fucking magic. You'd see him catch the
like,
the off the side of his heel, and then it flips over, and then
he knows where everyone's at on the pitch at the.
And then
any
the
given
perfect
time,
pass.
so he just his vision's great, so he sees a spot and puts the ball exactly where it needs to go. But yeah, you would be pissed for 70 minutes, then you'd get over it.
I'd be like, that bug-eyed goofer.
Yeah.
But then next thing you know, he does, and I'd be like, words back in my mouth. I'll take some salt on him.
Oh yeah.
So,
but with Lola, I didn't really.
I just watched him just kind of jog around and kind of be half interested in coming back and playing defense. He didn't seem to be interested in being up on the line. I don't even know what he was doing.
And he got that yellow early on too.
Yellow.
I mean, it was just. There were a lot of yellow cards that game.
There's a lot of
actually, the more I think about it,
yeah.
I think Shabaiko got one too.
Yeah, Shabaiko.
I mean, things got choppy, and the ref I think noticed that.
I think you're right.
Which there are things to say about that. But before we get to the ref, I guess let's check back. So we talked about Loba. We had Rios, and we talked about how we don't know how he's doing, but I'm hoping he's okay, especially for the impending playoffs. But,
right. And then so Rios came off, and I thought that he didn't get a lot of touches.
No.
And again, we offense was pretty much just negated in the first half. I thought Sapong showed his standard work rate. We usually say CJ Sapong runs his legs off, and we saw that from him for 70-some minutes.
Yeah.
And creating chances and being in good position. So I thought that Sapong had a quality game, and what we had come to expect of him, not quite the goal production that we were hoping for.
No, and even though I thought he came on later than he did, but being on for that long, I mean,
70 minutes from CJ Sapong, that's a lot of running.
That's a lot of running, and then you had Leal who came off too, I think.
Yeah, Leal came off.
Right?
Yeah, so Leal came off for Cadiz at 76.
Okay, I thought Leal
had a good game.
Good, yeah.
So this is another part of his game that I think that we hadn't been seeing from him before.
Him taking shots.
Him coming back and actually helping with the defense.
Okay.
So we actually we've seen his game in maybe the 4 or 5 months that we've started really paying attention to him.
I think that's right.
We've seen him develop. I mean, I think that he's become he's become a much more complete player.
He definitely took a few shots that game that I think he shouldn't have taken. But there weren't many shots on goal. I'm sure the bootleggers were happy about
the
that.
bootleggers were running dry.
There's maybe a couple of shots on goal. But I mean, right, so Leal, I think we've seen him develop. You're right. Tracking back, playing forward, we see some of his creativity. I was satisfied with this game, tracking back, vision-wise too. But when it came to him, actually shooting, going for it, I was disappointed this game.
Yeah, I think that he was.
Disappointed.
The one shot that I'm remembering was he was a little far out and he was off balance, right? And
yeah, that's right.
Showed how strong his foot is. Also showed that you also have to aim.
You have to aim. It's necessary. And that was a big chance. There was another moment I think earlier than that where he went for it and kind of just guided a bit.
Okay.
I mean But hey, that's not everything. There are games like that.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is about so many of these is not that you have to put everyone that you get away and everyone has to be perfect. You just have to get chances and take them when they come.
Keep their defense and the keeper on their heels.
Right.
I mean But I think when they're that far off target, it can maybe have the inverse.
That's exactly what I'm not sure I know how to shoot.
Yeah.
So, did we want to
that's
talk about?
forwards.
So we had two other We had two forward subs. Cadiz,
fair.
I don't have anything to say about.
Nothing.
He really didn't do much. Don Lottie played for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought Don Lottie had a good game. He did a number of positives, so he's playing on that kind of left side.
Yeah.
There were a lot of times that he had some space in there, and I thought that there were a number of times where he was dribbling, and again, good hustle play from him. I'm unsure whether or not that's the right place for him, given the way that we were laid out with regards to everybody else.
I think, yeah.
But
you'd almost want to put him where you'd have Lovitz.
Yeah,
I mean, the reason I'm thinking that is because a little further out and just trying to kind of dominate the wing. Given that we don't have Lovitz.
Yeah.
I mean, so we had Washington playing there.
We had Washington playing there,
This
and
game,
and then he got replaced by Nealis at 76.
And Nealis got a card, didn't he?
He did.
I think he did. Yeah.
So I think that right, and it was kind of a sloppy challenge, and so
things got choppy in that game.
Yeah,
I think things got choppy. Both teams knew that the 3 points are what we really both of them needed to secure that slot.
Yeah,
or try to secure that.
And they realized that, and maybe another sort of global point that you had made, like before we started recording, was they recognized that we are good at chasing the game.
Yeah, and I was actually, when I saw Shabaiko's early penalty, I wasn't worried. And that ended up damning me, right? Not to be superstitious, but I thought, it's fine. We're playing from behind. This is what we're best at, right?
We know how to do this.
We know how to chase a game. It's when things are level that we kind of, don't know what to do. And when we get a lead.
And to your point, we did chase the game well for pretty much the entire second half. I thought that the second half was, we looked outclassed in the first half.
The first half we had to, that was partially, I think, because of we didn't know what was going on format-wise, and also we had Rios getting hurt, and early subs. I mean, that was...
Yeah, we were a little off-kilter in the front.
And having, no Lovitz still is, I think, not great for the left wing. I'm not saying Washington didn't have a good game, but...
They had an okay game. But, I mean, and by the way, congrats to Washington for, he hit 100, 100 starts. Congrats for that. That's awesome. And it stinks that 100 starts for NSC, both in 2 leagues, no less. Pretty cool. But had to coincide with that weird penalty.
And you know what?
So let's talk about that one.
Well, let's talk. Okay, let's go.
Because we're talking about the midfield, talking about Washington. Let's talk about Washington. Let's talk about that pen. Let's talk about the call for the pen. What do you think?
I saw everything I needed to see when they called the red and then they rescinded it.
Oh, okay.
Somebody paid somebody. I was like, I was frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't know what you thought about it, but I was outright frustrated. I thought.
So first off, one of the rules is that you can't have your arms in an unnatural position. His arms were kind of down on the side here. Where do you have, by the way, having your arms behind your back is more unnatural than
that's the rule. The rules almost end up being
where do they have to be? Is this unnatural when I'm running? I don't know.
Yeah.
So that rule's weird.
The idea is I agree with you that the spirit of the law would be right. Your arms you're trying to use your arms to stop something.
Yes.
Because the natural position means that you're playing the game how it's supposed to be played.
Right. And so it's look, if it's like, look, here's what's unnatural is you're going for the ball and you throw your arms out to make yourself big like a goalkeeper.
You're not
and that's the unnatural position. Having your arms dangle by your sides while you're running and a ball is getting knocked into the penalty area while you're trying to get in position is not an unnatural position.
When I first saw, because it was off the set piece, when I first saw it, I was like, wait, why is that I was looking for somebody falling, but then I wasn't listening to the commentary. Then I realized that it was hand, and I was like, wait.
Now,
I don't think that was...
So the ball kind of comes through a crowd, and I think that did it come off a heel? I'm unsure if there was a deflection that actually made it so that it hit his arm.
Actually, wait, no, there was a deflection.
There was a deflection.
Yeah.
So
it came from under. That was frustrating.
It was coming up. It hits him in his. It's a weird bounce. It hits him in his hand. So maybe by the letter of the law, I guess.
Well, but like you said, the natural position part, it's like He wasn't trying to get the ball with his hands. He wasn't trying to avert anything.
Yeah.
He just happened to
So
be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So maybe it should just be, look, if the ball fucking touches your hands, then it's a penalty. That's just going to be the rule now.
But it's not in there. It's not in
that's
there.
That's not the rule. That's not the rule. But that should be the rule. It should just be like, it should be like look, if the ball touches your hand as a defender, it's a penalty. Full stop. We don't care about your intentions. We don't care about natural. Yeah. We don't care about like, oh, but I run weird or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because if it's
the ball touches your hand, it's a penalty.
If it's Sterling, he's running T-Rex style. His hands might be in the right place for him, but for me, it's like, no, yeah. At first, I'm telling you, I wasn't listening to the commentary. I was watching the game, and I thought, how is that a penalty? Who got knocked down? Then I saw it bounce off the heel into his, like, right here, and I was like. I was frustrated.
Frustrated, weird penalty, fine, and so
Shabako, he did put it away.
And he put it away. And,
to be fair, I mean,
right. Kudos to him for putting it away. Nice penalty, roofed it on the net down the middle.
He put that away.
So good for him. That was a fine penalty. Do we have anything else to say about the pen?
No, just that I feel like the refereeing was just generally against us, right?
Yeah, I felt like we had to play against 11 plus another fella in green.
And also, the card being rescinded, I was like, are we seriously? Is this?
Yeah.
And they looked at it again, and they were like, oh, never mind.
Nah, forget it. Yeah. Well, I'm pleased that we didn't have to play a man down.
Yeah.
So we're moving across the midfield. So we've got our two other midfielders. We had Anunga and Godoy in the midfield, and when we first started talking, you said that you thought you saw some really positive play from them.
I thought Godoy did really well that game. I really liked Godoy that game, and that's something usually I would not have been saying, but I think he's got a good position there, especially with no Dax. I think Dax and Anunga I like more than Dax and Godoy.
Okay,
I'm not
interesting.
gonna lie when it comes to
interesting. So it looked like Anunga was playing a little bit in front of Godoy, kind of playing in front of the six, and Godoy's playing standard six.
Godoy's
playing standard six, little hold, playing right in front of the defense, playing kind of on top of the defense.
Wait, so who else was back there then? If that was how it was lined up, it was Godoy back there.
Godoy and Anunga was kind of over the top of him.
Anunga was over.
And then we had Johnston on the right side.
Okay, so then you had Washington and then
Johnson,
and Johnston,
and then Anunga and Godoy.
And then flanked by
and then we had three in the back.
So that's confusing. At first I thought it was like three, and then you had two. Well,
yes, three. It was kind of a 3-4-3 is kind of how
3-4. Okay.
How I was kind of seeing it, and that's I think how they even kind of set it up, at least on the TV screen. Maybe they would have had like a different layout, or I mean, again, it's Smith Bowl, and so in fact, those wingers were effectively like fifth defenders.
They really just dropped back.
Yeah.
And then you have supposedly three in the midfield.
Right.
Kind of. But,
So, assuming that one of those forwards drops back and helps out,
and you have then you have true striker and then someone below,
right. So,
kind of.
So, who I thought in the back had a really solid game? Miller. I thought that Eric Miller had a solid game, and there were a number of times where it was like, man. What's his name? Mbizo is such a speedy and canny player, is he gonna get run past? And he didn't. And a number of good stabs, a number of times where they were playing the offside trap, and especially early, he and Mayer, I thought, had a really good bit of communication.
They were keeping the line, yeah.
I thought that they looked perfect. They looked perfectly flat whenever we actually got the camera angle to see it.
No Zimmerman too.
No Zimmerman
so I think that
to
was
start.
Yeah. Well, not
yeah.
I think the idea was, I'm not sure, but I think the idea was just hold him back. We don't need to start him every single game. We can rest him for a bit, but.
You guys play every game.
What'd you say?
He gets to play every game. Dave Romney.
Iron
every second of Nashville's MLS, both seasons, the entirety of this season and last season. every game, every second.
Knock on
The Iron Man, man. It's awesome. Yeah.
The Iron Man, yeah.
Banging on wood. Stay away, Nemesis.
Yeah, Romney. I don't think he did bad.
I don't think he did bad.
I think he did fine.
I think that I really love to see his set piece throw-ins.
The big throw.
The big arm throw, man.
Throw. That's it. It is a set piece.
It is like a set piece.
I think it is a set piece, though.
Yeah,
play stop. If it's not open play, it's a set piece.
Play stop, and we know it's a set piece. Why? Because Zimmerman runs up there. Thor's hammer's getting ready.
Which that worries me all the time. But
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and we almost there was a bit of a chance off of one of those where we had to have one of our defenders kind of cover up. And things kind of got behind us. Because I think that was it Shabilko who was offside on one of their counters whenever we had one of these?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of got behind us.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
And I'm not remembering who was in the back. I think it was Godoy who was in the back. He's a good defender, but he's not a defender. If that
he's not.
He knows how to tackle.
Back.
Yeah, he's not a center back.
Yeah,
right.
He's gonna commit. Yeah.
So there were a couple times where I was like, there's going to come a day.
Okay.
There's going to come a day when we get beat on the counter because we had all of our big men up trying to get a ball in, and
something is flying back, and one of their forwards is just
one of their forwards is just going to blow right the hell by one of our midfielders who's stuck. Playing center back.
We just have to pray that Willis makes himself
big.
Yeah. There's no way, right?
And he had a number of good saves.
I was gonna say that's the final piece of the puzzle is Willis. I think it would have been maybe 3-0. I mean, they had. I think just generally speaking, I know they had more shots on goal than us.
Yeah.
I mean, they had more shots, period, but more shots on goal too.
That first half was frightening, man. I mean, like I was just like, man, I hope there's coffee in the locker room. Like, someone to wake up.
Or no, I guess maybe we won't.
All right, so I'm gonna go through my list.
Okay.
All right, so I've got folks we were missing, right? So the good news about the half deck, right? So there is good news in this loss,
there is good news.
The only real difference between those two teams in the end for the full 90 was a fluky pen.
The referee.
And Washington 100 games.
The fact that Sapong used to play for them. I mean there was one time he almost scored and it would have been
sweet.
Right, I think what is he at 30? How many goals did he have for them? They said it, yeah, and I think Shabilko is just after him, right?
So I have one other thing, and again, this is on CJ's point, on the point with CJ, which is we've praised some of his play, and we were talking about his hustle, but one of the golden chances that was created for us, that was a Sapong Loba back to Sapong, and was the chance that you were probably talking about. Which was one was created by the fact that he's in the front chasing the damn ball down, and he poached one in their third. And that's one of the great virtues of CJ Sapong's game.
When you run at them, it creates
all that stuff.
You're playing with urgency. I mean, it tires you out, right? But that's okay if you have a bench. And they still have the 5 subs from the COVID rules.
Yeah.
How
long is that going to last?
It's great to abuse it with Sapong, though, because it means he can run his ass off.
He gets to run like that.
It's going to be okay. Because
there's going to be a day, maybe next season. Like maybe when next season
back
starts
to 3 subs, and then now
we're like, CJ, please.
Can you slow down for a little bit, just so we can
take 5 minutes off?
We need to sub other people.
Take a page from Ake Lola. He never runs.
Yeah. Take a Mezzaduzzel. Just loaf around for a bit. And then get mad when they send you off.
That's right, yeah. Then act all mad.
And then, I had something.
But I had so much left in me.
Yeah, it's like you didn't show us, so that's why you came off. Yeah.
All right, that's the end of my list.
That's the end of all I have to say. Just we're playing against 12.
Yeah.
No, really playing against 13.
We're
playing against 13 because we're away.
Yeah. Oh yes.
We're away, so the 12th man, but then also.
And then the refs, because I think especially towards the end of the game, it looked like Bedoya just got it. The ref was just like, hey,
every time,
just foul him whenever you want.
Every time, yeah.
Just do whatever you want.
That was ridiculous. Okay, I'm at my limit.
Yeah, I'm done. NSC Fan TV.